All right, so here we go with our Google Sheets level 2 video. So we're going to do some things with budgeting right here. And the first thing is you will want to make a new sheet and name it budgeting. I'm just going to leave mine as test sheet since I'm just showing you some stuff on here. And on there, there's a link to get you some of this data right here. So this is just automatically generated data, and I'm gonna just select all of this stuff, and I'm gonna use Control C for copy because we use keyboard shortcuts here. And then I'm going to do a different type of pasting, because if I do Control V, it gives me all the formatting and everything, and I don't want that right now. What I want is I'm gonna go right click and I'm going to do paste special, and I'm going to use paste values only. So on my Mac right now it's saying Command Shift V. This would be Control Shift V for you, and basically what that does is it removes all the formatting and matches it to what you have. So I'm just going to do that right there, and that looks a little bit nicer right there. Okay, so that's the data. So you can imagine that this is your, let's say you have a checking account that you're putting your money in, and this is the statement that you get back from the bank, which shows you all the different transactions you did. Anything that's a debit means that you took money out. Anything that is a credit means that it was deposited, that you put money in. Or in this case, yeah, a credit, you got some money from somewhere else. Deposit, you actually put that money in. And account transfer, again, from one account to another. So that's incoming money, credit to your account. Okay, so to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like, I'm going to select these first 10 cells. Now, sometimes people make the mistake, they click on cell 1 and then they start clicking and dragging down, and that's not going to work. That's just going to move this row right here. So I actually need to start clicking and holding down at the same time. So if I've already clicked, I can't do that because then it's just going to move the row. So I have the first 10 selected right here, and so I'm gonna right click and insert 10 above because I want 10 more rows above. And while I have this selected, I want to freeze up to let's see, nope, I'm gonna click right here, view freeze up to current row, so up to the 10th row. And basically we're doing that so that we can have some important information up here that we can always see no matter how big our accounting statement gets. So we're going to have income, expenses, balance. Okay, so now our income is everything in this row or column right here. Okay, and I'm going to show you a trick. So remember we used some addition. We just added numbers, and we talked about the sum formula. So to use the sum formula, we do an equal sign and sum. And what I want to do here is I want to sum from this cell right here, which is E12, through the bottom. Now I'm going to show you a trick because maybe I'm going to add more things later. So if I just said E29 and I added some more things down here, this would not get updated. However, if I just type E, that says go from E12 to the rest of column E. So that means if I add more here, it will automatically get updated. So let me show you that really quick. So like if I did just E29 and I put 2 down here, this does not get updated. But if I do E, it does. Okay, so we'll do, that's a trick, E12 to E, and that will do the rest of the column. Okay, our expenses, again, we're going to sum, and this is going to be D12 to D. So the rest of that right there. And then our balance, we are going to subtract them. Now remember, we're not subtracting the numbers, we're subtracting the cells. So B1 minus B2. So that's our balance. That's how much money we have left over this month. So we got some money and we spent some money, and we still have almost $300. So we're doing pretty good right here. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do right here where it says credit, okay, we're going to do category. Okay, and we want to think of how these different things might fall. What might their categories be in? We have things like restaurants. That could be like fast food, or this restaurant right here, this rent payment, that might be, we might put that as house. Online movie, that might be entertainment. We got some shopping, maybe other for haircut, car, house, other, yeah, things like that, shopping, whatever you want. So when you do this, what you're going to do is you're going to do some data validation, and I have right here F12 to F13 because they have those two selected, but I actually want F12 to F. Okay, that's going to be the rest right here. So I am going to, I'll do a list of items right here, and I would enter in things like shopping, house, restaurant, other, entertainment, car, things like that. And then I would click save. So now all of these cells, instead of me typing in them, they now have a drop down menu. And oops, I made a mistake in that. Sorry, people. It even told me, and I just, yeah, didn't even think about it. It actually wants these all separated by commas. So I do have to put a comma after each of my categories, except for the last one. So if I do that, oops, and again, guess who made a mistake? This guy. F12 to F. We want it to be like this. All right, there we go. Now I have them on each line. So I could say that this was a restaurant. Yeah, this was restaurant. I'm going to do this just really quickly. All right. And so now I have all these categories, and notice I didn't do anything for these credits right here because I want to see my expenses, not necessarily how much money I am getting right here. So we got that. And next thing is in column D right here. This is by category. Then we're going to list our different categories. So I got restaurant, house, entertainment, shopping, car, and other. I believe those are the only categories I use. Okay, so we are going to use a formula called SUMIF, and this just means that it's going to add something, something, if it meets certain requirements. So remember, start with the equal sign. It's called SUMIF. And then we're going to put our parentheses right here because we have to give it some parameters, some things to check for. Now, the SUMIF formula is very helpful because you might only want to add things that meet certain requirements, but it can be a bit confusing too. So we want to check if two things are equal, and then if they are, we would want to do something with that. So we're going to check if the range, we're going to check something that we have put in, if it's equal to something that we want it to match to. And if so, what do we want to do? What do we want to add? So we're going to start right here. And because we're copying this formula down to, it's because it's going to be the same formula for our other categories, we're going to use what's called absolute cell references. Absolute cell references just mean that when I copy a formula, that cell, that the row and the column that name the cell, that will not change as the formula gets copied. Now we've seen that before when we've done other formulas that I copy it and it automatically updates. In this case, we don't want that to happen. So we use dollar signs. I'm going to do $F, $12. That means always be in column F, always be in row 12. And that's where our criteria or our range starts, because we want to see this stuff right here. And remember, I want to go to the end of this. I'm going to just do $F right there. Okay. We want to check if this is equal to, right now I'm in the restaurant one, so I want it to see if it's equal to D2. Okay. D2 right there. Now the reason I'm not doing $signs on this one is because when I copy this down one, I do want it to change. I want it to be D3 next time. If I put a $sign right here, it would say always be D3. So I don't want to do that. Okay. And if that's the case, if it is there, we are going to want to sum, D12, D $12 to $D. We're going to do that. So that says we want to sum what's in here. And the reason, again, why I'm using $signs, this is going to get copied down. If I went down a cell, if I copied it down, it would start at D13 and then D14. And I would be missing some of these first transactions right here. So let's see if this works here. I'm just going to press enter. I got everything closed. And a nice little thing is that I could see these are all color coded. So that means that I do have something here. So I'm going to press enter and voila, it did it. Notice that it doesn't have to be case sensitive right here, but it does have to be spelled correctly. If I put a space at the end of this restaurant right here, okay, restaurant with a space is different than restaurant without a space. So do make sure that you're doing that correctly. So now I can just copy this down right here, and it looks like that's pretty much it. All right, the last thing that we want to do is we want to create a pie chart for this. So I'm going to select this stuff and we're going to just go to insert chart and we'll see what it gives us. Okay, gave us this column chart. I'm just going to change it to pie right here. And there are some different things that I could do to format this a little bit better. I'm just going to go to customize. We'll just see some things. Yeah, that looks good. Pie chart. I could give it a donut hole, different. I'm going to do this. Let's see here. Okay, so this lets me see how much money, what the actual value is on this. So yeah, over 2/3 is there, but how much does that break down to? Or I could do value and percentage like this. I could change my pie slices, color. I could give this some titles, breakdown expenses. That could be my chart title. That would be a good one. I could give it a subtitle, anything like that. I think that right there looks pretty good. So I'm going to call that done. I am finished with this project right here.